Hello there folks, and welcome back to another speed paint video. Pokémon Legends EA is coming out very soon, and I am very excited. I'm recording this voiceover probably a couple weeks before you're going to be hearing it, but I am so excited for this game. I'm so excited to play it. I want to know, what star are you guys picking? Tell me in the comments below. Are you picking Chikorita, Tepig, or Totodile? Please, tell me. I want to know. I'm so excited for this freaking game. I'm obviously picking Chikorita because Chikorita is my goat. Anyway, because I'm so excited about an upcoming Pokemon game, I wanted to do some more Pokemon art. And in the middle of the night the other night, I had like this flash vision that I should do fusions of Mew. So today you'll be seeing make some fusions with Mew and various other mythical and legendary Pokemon from across the series. So without further ado, let's get into the speed paint. The first one we have here is the very first one I thought of. I fused Mew and Victini. Victini as a character design is definitely meant to be like Mew's parallel in Gen 5. Many of the Gen 5 Pokemon are meant to mirror or parallel Pokemon from Gens 1 and 2, and Victini is no exception. It definitely is meant to feel like a parallel to Mew, the fact that it comes first in its Pokedex, to refer to it being the first Pokemon, being a reference to Mew being like very ancient and related to all Pokemon, considered the ancestor of all of them. That's definitely, like, the intention there, even though that's not Victini's own lore. I just think that's pretty cool. And because Victini has a very simple design, I thought it would translate very well into a Mew fusion. I had fun giving it those big chunky ears like Victini has, I gave it little paw markings on each of its little paws, and I had fun with the wings. I gave it two pairs, so I gave it a pair on its butt, and a pair on its tail in a sort of twin tail aesthetic, similar to kind of how Espeon's tail is. Because that idea visually came to me in the sort of vision I had for this video when I realized it would be a fun idea to draw, and I just had a lot of fun with this one. All the drawings today I did like a fun cloudy background for as well, just because I felt inspired to draw some more clouds, so if you like me drawing clouds, well, this is a little bonus treat for you as well today. These are just two Pokemon who have very nice, simple designs that I feel like go together very well, and it was very satisfying to put them together. I feel like this is just such a nice, simple fusion that is just very cute and charming to look at. The next one I've got for you guys is Mew with Darkrai, and unlike Mew and Victini, who feel very similar, I feel like Darkrai is a very different Pokemon from Mew. It's got a more humanoid shape, it's more scary, it's, you know, it's more mysterious and floaty and indefinite in its shapes, whereas Mew is like very solid. So I thought they would make for a fun, compelling fusion. I gave it that distinctive white mane that Darkrai has, it's got the bright blue eye, it's got the collar, question mark? I don't know what to call that Darkrai's got on its shoulders, question mark. Pokemon anatomy is so weird. And I made its tail feel a lot like the sort of tail that Darkrai has at the bottom of its dress-like body. I just had a lot of fun with this one. Darkrai's got just such satisfying shapes to draw. I will take basically any excuse to draw it because it's just so fun. It's definitely one of my favorite mythical Pokemon. And even though these are Pokemon that are not very intuitive to put together, I feel like their shapes go together very well. I really like how the Mew ear sticks out from the Darkrai mane in this design. I gave Mew's like nose a more red hue to match with the collar. And I also made its hands more shaped like Darkrai's arms, which have like the spikes on them and the big like ghostly fingers that it's got. I feel like a lot of ghost Pokemon have like fingers or claws that kind of look like that, so I wanted to reference that in this design. And as for the background, I put it on more of like a moody sunset sort of vibe, because I thought that was very fitting for this very nighttime dwelling fusion. And I just had a lot of fun with this one. Again, it's another very simple design that I just thought was very satisfying to put together, and I'm very happy with it. The next one is another Pokemon that is pretty different from Mew in terms of its design, and that is Keldeo. Keldeo is the first of these that is dominantly quadrupedal. Like, this is such a unambiguously four-legged Pokemon, so putting it in a Mew design was an interesting challenge. Honestly, the thing that gave me the most trouble was how to do the mane, and drawing it at the angle that I wanted to. It was hard to find, like, what the definitive shape of Keldeo's mane really is, with the art that it has, because the horns that it has very much block the middle part I was interested in looking at. But even though this one was quite a challenge, I still had a lot of fun with it. I gave its tail like a nice long length, just like Mew, but it's more shaped like Keldio's tail. Its feet are marked like it's got hooves, even though it doesn't. It just has the coloration to suggest the idea of hooves. And it's got the nice little unicorn horn that Keldeo has. It's got the big blue eyes like Mew and Keldeo. And of course, it still has Keldeo's horns. And for all the blue parts, I also gave them nice round highlights to give the impression like it's water, like it's a bubble, like it's got a wet sort of quality to it, giving it a more interesting texture than just making it flat. And yeah, this design was pretty challenging to me, but once I figured out where the silhouette was going and I managed to get out of Tangent City with some of the horns and other things, I was pretty happy with how this one came out. It was a challenge, but I still had a lot of fun with it. And it was very fun to render out, draw, and make a lot of fun. I gave it a nice nighttime sort of color palette in the background to help the white body stand out a little bit more. So it's a whiter colored body on a darker field to give it a little more contrast. And I just had a lot of fun with this one, even though it gave me a little bit of a challenge. Next up is one that's most relevant to the upcoming Pokemon release, and it's Mew fused with Zygarde. Specifically, I took a lot of inspirations from Zygarde's 50% form, but I still have a couple references here and there to the 10% form as well. Zygarde is just such a cool Pokemon. It is a very challenging Pokemon to draw on its own, at least in the 50% form, but fusing it with Mew was actually surprisingly straightforward. For the tail, I kind of gave it like that long, flat slug tail that it has in the 50% form, with some hexagons flying off, since Zygarde is like very more than any Pokemon, it is multicellular. It is literally made up of all the different cells, so I like the idea of some of the things coming off to show that it's made of multiple smaller components. I gave it one foot that was lighter than the rest, similar to how 10% Zygarde has one paw that is green while the rest of them are black. And I made its face most similar to 50% Zygarde. It has hexagonal, glowing white eyes. Easily like the most different out of Mew's original eyes of all the fusions. Like most of them still have like largely big blue eyes for the most part, but this one is definitely the most different from the original Mew. But I feel like it still reads so clearly as Mew because of the proportions and the shape of the head that I feel like this is such a fun and convincing fusion that feels very 50-50 between the two. Like, each design element is so strongly one or the other, but they go together pretty well, I think. And I'm pretty happy with it. I gave it a nice green underbelly for, you know, counter shading. You know, I can't get away from that. And it still references, like, the way that Zygarde has, like, the green underside in its 50% form with the black head. I wanted to reference that as well. And I gave it, again, more references to the idea that it's got all sorts of little hexagonal bits that it's made up of to reference the fact that, you know, Zygarde is made up of hexagonal bits. And this one was just a lot of fun. It really got me, again, very excited for Legends ZA. I'm excited to see Zygarde get a proper spotlight in that game. And this was just such a fun fusion to kind of get my excitement out about, and it was a lot of fun to do. The next one I've got is another water-type Pokemon, and that is Manaphy. Just like with the Keldeo design, I wanted to render it out kind of like a bubble where it has these distinctive round highlights to make it feel a little soggy. Manaphy was actually deceptively tricky, and that's because of the like eyelash accents that it has on its head. Because Mew has a more round head, and Manaphy has a more flat head, figuring out how to make those accents visible in the round and how to draw the eyes was actually a bit of a challenge. Once I figured out that I would have the far eye away from the camera, but still you could see the dots from the eyelashes, I think that's very convincingly like putting the head in a perspective that's easy to understand and reads well in the rounds. I made its arms more, I don't know, flabby feels like the wrong word, but that's how I would describe them, to mimic the arm shape of Manaphy. I gave it the distinctive gems on its chest like Manaphy has, and just like how Manaphy has the antenna on its head, this one has two tails that mimic Manaphy's antenna, kind of similar to the twin tail design in Victini earlier. This is just such a fun, predominantly blue design. Its eyes are very similar to the original Mew, except for the accent like Manaphy has. And it's on a nice, very blue sky to just really hammer in that wonderful blue, summertime sky, ocean aesthetic that I was trying to go for in this illustration. And it was very satisfying to put together once I figured out how I wanted to tackle the design. Last and certainly not least, we have Mew with Zeraora, the most recent of any mythical in this list. So Zeraora is a very fun and special Pokemon to me. I feel like a lot of people don't have a strong impression of it, and I think that's primarily because it, didn't get a huge hype season while it was coming out, and in the movie where it debuted, it's kind of only a tertiary character because that movie was The Power of Us, which was definitely more of an ensemble cast movie, and by nature of that, Zeraora definitely plays a less strong role compared to other mythical or legendary Pokemon do in their debut movies. But I think Zeraora is really cool. I think it's got a lot of fun elements to its design. I think it's got a very cool, distinctive silhouette. And maybe just very personally, it looks very similar to the Persona character of one of my friends, Urklo. So, if I get their permission, I'll put their Persona bubble up on screen now, along with Zeraora, because we like to joke that Gen 7 was made for us. That they put out Araquanid, which is, you know, an aqua spider. That's my freaking username, and it has been for ages. So it was very funny that they put out a Pokemon like that. And then the mythical of that generation looks just like my friend's character that they've been using since they were a kid too, so we like to joke that Gen 7 was made for us, and us specifically, because of these designs. So Zeraora is a very Urklo classic to me, and because it's a cat, I felt like it would go very naturally with Mew. This design actually did have a couple of challenges, since Zeraora has lots of elements to its design, whereas Mew is so critically simple. But I think I managed to make it work. I managed to make it look believably like it's both. It was very interesting. Like, the most challenging part to me, personally, was probably the sort of pants-like, shorts-like element that goes with the yellow fur around its waist. It was interesting trying to get, like, a balance of that where it feels like puffy pants without accidentally looking like just a diaper, which, nothing wrong with that, but that's just not the vibe I was going for. I really wanted it to feel like it was wearing cargo shorts in a way, you know? I had fun making the tail very much look like Zeraora's, I don't know, tail feels like the wrong word for what that is, because it's coming out of the middle of its back, but it kind of reminds me a bit of Deltarune's Werewires, a little bit in that way, you know? It's got like a electrical thing coming from the upper part of its body. Zeraora is kind of Werewire-like, I guess. That's very funny to me now that I think about it. But anyway, this design was a lot of fun. It was very challenging to put it together because it's interesting to try to, like, simplify down a design while still making it very recognizably, like, a more complicated character design. But I think I managed to get there. I had a lot of fun with this one, and shout out Urklo, because I know Zeraora is definitely one of their goats. So yeah, I hope you enjoy this Zeraora Mew fusion. And with that, that's all that I've got for you guys today, so thank you all so much for watching. I actually did draw 2 more fusions for this video, but like a dummy, I completely forgot to hit record at the beginning, so I simply don't have a time-lapse for them, so you'll see me post them on social media. It's a Shaman design and a Cresselia design. I guess it helps that it makes this video a little bit less Gen 4 heavy. I guess it all works out. You'll see those designs on social media eventually. Let me know which one of these fusions was your favorite in the comments below. I'd really like to know. I really do want to do another fusion video at some point. Maybe I'll do a follow-up to this one with Mewtwo with all of these same Pokemon. I think that would be a lot of fun, so maybe that'll come in the future if you guys are interested. And thank you, by the way, to my supporters on Ko-fi for helping make this video possible, helping my art stay sustainable, and for helping make my life just a little bit more stable and easier. Especially since I do want to, you know, get a somewhat expensive video game. This does help me justify that cost a little bit to myself, because I have income from not just, you know, my part-time job, but also from over here with you guys as my supporters. So thank you again, because I really do appreciate it. If you do want to support me, go check out my Ko-fi. I've got commissions over there, as well as a shop full of downloadables like zines and emotes and wallpapers and such. And you can of course support me monthly and appear in my credits of all my videos. And of course, don't forget, I'll be teaching a class at the end of the month on October 24th at 7 PM EST. I'll be teaching a class with the Leaping Fae. This class being Color Club Basics of Composition, where I'll be talking about composition and image making. So how to arrange images, how to study how images are put together, and how to tell stories and make compelling images all on your own. So my goal with this series is to make the fundamentals and basics of image making and visual art approachable and fun for anybody regardless of their skill level or their medium. So whether you'd like to learn more about the subject, you want to meet some new artists to hang out with and be friends with, or you just want to hear me yap about something, please feel free to go sign up for that class, and I will be very happy to see you there. And with that, that is all that I've got for you guys today, so thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all again next week with another new art video, and in the meantime, why don't you guys go out there and make some art.